Hi, welcome to Maker's Bar. I'm Akshata. For most of us, construction and mining sites seem distant from our day to day lives. However, they serve us in many ways, providing the materials that build our cities, fuel our industries. Today, we have a company that is making heavy industry smarter. SafeAI is a technology company specializing in development of autonomous heavy machinery for use in mining and construction site. Safe AI enables heavy equipment owners to convert their fleet to retrofit autonomous vehicle hardware kits, regardless of the vehicle type or manufacturer. Today, we have Dr. Bibhrajit Halder, who is the founder and CEO of Safe AI. He has previously worked for companies like Apple, Ford Motor, and Caterpillar. He holds a PhD from the very famous Vanderbilt University in mechanical engineering. Welcome, Dr. Halder.
Thank you, Akshita. Looking forward to talking to you. And every time I do podcast, I say I know how much work it is on the back. So I really appreciate you doing that. I saw some of your other shows. It's really great.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Dr. Halmer, tell us a little bit about your early journey and how did you get the idea of starting your own company?
Absolutely. So I think I've been doing autonomy for a long time. Just to kind of going back a little bit, we both have the root in India. So I did my undergrad in India, came over to US early 2000,
Uh-huh.
and that was literally when the autonomy got started.
Yeah.
Like a lot of technology, the defense does it first and then say give it to the other people. So this is when I was doing my grad school. I got into autonomy back in that time, and right after that, mining industry actually picked it up before anybody else.
Oh,
Both you and me are in Silicon Valley. We know all the self-driving going around,
yeah.
but Google started around 2011 2010, but mining industry started doing autonomy in 1995.
And was there a reason for it, or it was just the need of the business?
It is very obvious reason. If you think about mining and construction, I know being in Silicon Valley, we don't think about it every day,
Yeah.
but really it's a constrained environment. It's a high safety concern in that.
Yeah.
Also, it's a remote area of the world. So finding the labor in an unsafe area,
Yeah.
autonomy just a no-brainer, if you will.
I see. What does Safe AI exactly do? Like, is there, can you explain the product to us, or um, uh, you, if you can go a little bit deeper and explain to our audience, like, what does Safe AI do? Because for a normal audience, they would probably not understand what it means. But
That's right.
even it took me like 5 minutes to understand what Safe AI does.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So like from my journey to this, I was at Caterpillar for some time. So what we do even that back then, think
Yeah,
about this in this industry, like even your car, we are trying to make your car autonomous. So basically driving that vehicle without any operator.
yeah,
So in the mining industry, construction industry, I don't know if you see this big yellow machine, big truck, big loader, dozer. I'm
yeah,
sure you've seen it in the side of the road sometime.
yeah.
So those today run by the human,
Uh-huh.
driven by the human. We are taking that operator out of that cab and
Uh-huh.
putting them into a safe location. So basically we make those vehicles, it's a truck, dozer, loader, all drives and run by itself. So that's kind of core thesis of it.
Yeah, but how when you have different manufacturers, how do you kind of align your software uniformly, or you have different software for different manufacturers?
Yeah. So before getting on to all the details, so basically what we do is we started SafeAI about 6 7 years ago now, and the
Uh-huh.
idea is that we take all the vehicle,
Uh-huh.
and usually the software is the same. And the reason the way you want to think about the software is the same is that when a human drives a truck
Uh-huh.
versus your car
Mhm.
versus a loader, another machine, we
Yeah.
are the same human.
Uh-huh.
So we are really replicating what a operator does. So basically the software is the same. Software has enough intelligence to get onto a vehicle,
Yeah.
understand what's around it, and drive what that vehicle is supposed to do. So that's kind of the core of it, if you will.
Okay. And so how is it like when you first started? Like it is a startup, right? And these heavy machinery industries are like very established. like they have been around for a long time.
That's right.
How did you go about? And I understand you had a background in it. You had a PhD, and you've done a lot of work, and obviously that speaks credibility, a huge amount of credibility, right? But how did you go about doing sales to these folks and saying, "Hey, let me make your things smarter"? Because that must have been like the biggest hurdle for you, in my personal opinion. But I don't know if it was or not.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, that is the biggest problem for startup, right? Finding the what we call product market fit. So I
Yeah,
was so after my time in the heavy industry, if you will, I moved into the passenger side. I was at Ford sometime. I was at Apple. I
yeah,
really saw the technology jumped a lot. Like
okay,
like any other technology, you give them 10, 15 years, it becomes a super mature. And the way I explain, the iPhone you had at early on, today's iPhone is very different,
yeah,
even if it is a. So when the technology jumps so much, so my our main idea was that can we take the technology back to the industry which can benefit from today.
yeah,
So I left Apple. The main idea was that let's take the technology back to the industry. To going back to your sales question, it
yeah,
was a very easy sell to the industry, at least from the concept point of view. So they
okay.
all wanted it. They wanted the next generation. So when we went to the mining industry, said we want to give this solution. So I think the mining market was extremely ready.
Okay. And they were open to this. They were like, okay, this is not some new technology jumbo. We are fine. We are willing to take this kind of a thing, and this is helping us.
I think
That's
what helps us, and I think going back to the my time in Caterpillar, the OEM actually already deployed autonomy into this world, and this
hmm
is why passenger autonomy is a little different than our industry. And I
yeah.
keep using the same statistic. There is about 1,200 truck has been running autonomously for last 7, 8 years. And when I
Uh-huh.
say autonomously means no human operator, no remote control, no human oversight at all.
Yeah.
They moved about 7 billion tons of material, not a
hmm
single fatal accident. So this industry is very mature for
hmm
using autonomy. So when we go to them saying that I'm going to sell you autonomy, their question is not like, what is it for us? They're saying that how much it costs, is it reliable, do you have the support? So they are asking question that they're ready to buy. They're making sure your product is good.
I see. Got it. Understood. So they are more open to innovation in their space, and they're more open to entrepreneurs. So you probably don't see a lot of Dr. Haldars in their space, probably.
That is right. And the way I say, like, in the Googles and Apples of the world, everybody wants to do passenger vehicle. And there is this, one company in the middle of all of them in Silicon Valley. You're like, let us do the heavy industry. So we had a great interest from the market. Also, they are working as a collaboratively with our customer.
Yeah, in fact, that is one of the reasons when I saw your company, I was very attracted to it because I was like, this is slightly different than what I usually see. Okay, so tell us a little bit about autonomous heavy machinery industry. Because I think the audiences wouldn't know much about it. It's like massive, but whatever your big apple picture is about it.
Yeah. And I think if we kind of zoom out of it and as a regular audience, like what is it to think about all the metal and mineral, like even the things that you're using right now,
Yeah,
I mean, that has been mined from somewhere.
yeah,
And if you think about a construction, think about the road building, the bridge building, your house, your basically the nation building is construction.
yeah.
So there is about $3 trillion market there. So between mining and construction, it's about 3 trillion market. There is
Mhm.
about, I think the statistics about 5 out of 11 people in
Mhm.
this world work in the mining and construction industry one way or other. So it's
Okay.
a massive actual industry. And I don't know if you see all those, US, Japan, everybody's doing infrastructure bill.
Yeah,
Those are, multi-trillion dollar. This is where the money is going.
yeah, yeah.
So it's a massive thing, and we don't every day think about it. But the nation we are building, the cities we have, the commodities we are using, everything kind of comes fueled by mining and construction. It's a hidden on the back, but this is massive.
Okay. This is really good information, Dr. Halda, because I don't think I would have ever thought about this from a big animal picture point of view ever. Right? It's such a big, massive industry, and you are right. You have so many infrastructure bills, and you don't even think about it on a day-to-day basis at all. So tell us who are like the competitors in your space, right? You have the cruises of the world and the GMs of the world trying to do things, but who are like competing with you in this little niche that you have?
That's right. By the way, just to pick up on your use, we actually have a test site in very 15 minutes from here, so very close to your house as well, in the
Yeah,
Cupertino, where we
yeah.
are running a truck, running a dozer. So anytime you want to come and see what this vehicle look like, you have an open invitation. You can come see
Oh,
that.
thank you. I will definitely do that.
And if you want to go a little further, we also are running in Australia part. We run in Japan. So if
Uh-huh.
you want to go outside US, we got two amazing location for you to come see. It's amazing. Once you see that, you will see the scale and the depth of this application.
I'll definitely love to come and visit the Cupertino area for sure. I don't know when I'm going to go to Australia and Japan.
That's right. But no, your question about competition, the way I'm looking at it is not so much of competition, is like who are the other ecosystem player.
Yeah.
And the reason I set it up that way, because there is about 1.5 million vehicle out there in the
Mhm.
heavy industry,
Yeah.
and every year about half a million new vehicle comes in.
Okay.
Only 1,200 vehicle are autonomous today. That means
Okay.
the amount of space we have to go is massive. There is just not enough player who is doing it. So it's a more of a, we need more people to do it. And obviously the usual player who are doing it, and I used to work for the OEMs are definitely doing it. There are a lot of this player like our software provider, they are developing it. But market is so massive at this time that just not enough player doing it. So one of the thing, I think one thing you do, kind of propagating this what we work, I think we attract more people to be participant into this ecosystem.
So Dr. Halder, you are in a blue ocean market then. I would say it. So that's very interesting when you put the stats out there, where you said you need 500,000 vehicles, if I got that right, and you just have 12,000 vehicles which are like fully autonomous, which is amazing. And whoever is listening to this, hopefully, this will probably ring in their, they'll have a light bulb flash kind of a thing. So Dr. Hada, I mean, obviously, you are an immigrant. You moved here, got your PhD and everything. You must have had your own set of struggles. I did. I have my own. What have your struggles been as a founder? Right? Like, was it like straightforward? First day you went and you said, "Hey, this is what I'm going to build. I have like this PhD in this subject, and people are going to fund me." Or was it like a whole journey before you got to where you are right now?
Yeah, and maybe the key point, I would not say so much about struggle, but the one thing is that I got lucky with the product market fit, if you will, that
Yeah.
market was asking what we want. But the more importantly, I think the demand is so high now, and
Yes.
being a startup, we are not fulfilling the demand fast enough.
Yeah.
So to your point, I think the biggest kind of what I think more is that how to scale up, in a way that it is safe. So
Uh-huh.
we are not a web company, we are not an app company. So
Yeah.
safety is our kind of the number one goal,
Yeah.
and we want to make it, but we also want to scale up fast. So I
Yeah.
think to your point, how do I do it? As a building startup, there is always a, as you know, there is always a ups and downs, but
Yeah.
it's fun. I mean, if you are kind of married to your vision, you know why you're doing it, you can
Yeah.
go ups and down. But the how to scale up is kind of what's our biggest challenge, if you will, at this time.
And when you say scaling up, do you feel like, since you're, I mean, I know you're in the valley, you probably get a lot of talent, but do you feel like in this space the talent is a little less, or people don't understand this, so not a lot of people are willing to come and work? How does that kind of look for you?
Yeah. So talent is definitely a problem, right? You got, we are in Santa Clara, we got Google, Apple, Facebook around us. So it's not easy. But I
Yeah.
think for us also more importantly, talent problems, like as we mentioned, we are not just in Silicon Valley, we have office in Australia,
Yeah.
Japan, we got office in India,
Yeah.
and finding a diverse pool of talent. We need people who are, PhDs in robotics. We
Yeah.
need people who can go into the truck and understand the physical truck. We
Yeah.
need people who understand what mining and construction is.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible to find people who have good understanding of all three. So I think,
Yeah.
yes, I mean, scaling up is definitely that problem. Also build the company in a way that we can actually ramp up and productionize as many vehicle as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think like finding talent in your space and knowing these three things must be extremely hard, and then balancing a company and selling, the product, it must be like really tough. So, what is like your vision for your company, and where do you want to see yourself and this company 5 years from now?
Yeah, and I think our vision is to accelerate the transition to autonomy for mining and construction. What
Yeah,
does that mean is that we are saying that we are not the one bringing autonomy to the industry.
yeah,
Industry already have deployed 1200 to 1500 vehicle. We want to accelerate that.
okay,
So if you're gonna say 5 year where you want to go, we want to see as many vehicle autonomous as possible in the
yeah,
heavy industry.
in the heavy
But
industry. Yeah,
even more importantly than that, that means we want to also set the trend for other partners. So
yeah,
if we can do 20,000, 30,000, 50,000 vehicle autonomous, we want other partner to take some of the standard and accelerate it faster.
yeah.
So not only we want to be put our solution, we want to use the solution for other partner to accelerate the ecosystem.
Yeah. So, Dr. Hala, I have one personal question. It is so when you decide to start the company, I know you told me that the industry was going, it was leapfrogging, and so I saw the technology was going up. So, was it like intrinsic where you felt like, oh, I have to go and start this company now, or was it like after a lot of deliberation and saying that, hey, this is going to work, I'm going to go and start this company? How did that come about for you?
Yeah, and in my background, if you saw, I was in a big company most of my
Yeah,
time, right?
yeah,
So it
yeah,
was not so much that I have to start a company.
yeah,
It was more of it is that this industry is really wanted the solution and nobody is giving it. So
yeah,
and the way I kind of explain this way, right? Let's say you have your buffet already. Now somebody is offering another ice cream, and
yeah,
here is this guy who is hungry. Nobody is giving them food. So
yeah.
basically, in the passenger vehicle, there are 100 company, $80 billion went, but they
Yeah,
can't go into production because it's so much harder. And
yeah,
here is this heavy industry who can go to production, but less than half a billion got invested. No
yeah.
company wants to do that. I was like, you know what? Nobody. Maybe I should do it. So that's kind of the trigger point because they really can go to production today, but
Yeah.
nobody is building for them. And here is this industry can't go to production at this moment, but everybody is focusing on that.
Yeah, actually, early this year I went to CES and everything was about autonomous vehicles, and
That's
I
right.
was so surprised when I saw that. I mean, I came back and I said, okay, if I own Tesla stocks, maybe it's time for me to get rid of some of them. After I saw the number of companies in CES, which was all focused on autonomous vehicles, and that's why when I saw SafeAI, I was like, this is very interesting. This is out of the box, in every way. So, so let's move to some fun and personal section. And who is your favorite entrepreneur?
Yeah, multiple. I think, obviously being in Silicon Valley, you got like Elon Musk, you got Jeff Bezos, you got Jensen Yang, right? I
Yeah,
think the reason I like them, this guy, the tenacity of it.
yeah,
Like usually they have been running for anywhere from 20 to 30 years. I mean, Jensen been running, Nvidia's founder and CEO, is but what, almost 30 plus years he's been running from the,
1990s actually. Yeah,
and I
that's
think that speaks for
that's
it.
scary. Yeah,
So yeah, I mean Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Jensen. You can't go wrong with them. So I listen to them a lot. Obviously, I learn a lot.
yeah.
What they're doing. So they definitely are top of my list.
So you would say the tenacity and being in the race for a long time is something that inspires you about them.
That's one thing, but also even able to reinvent and have this innovation mind so many times. Like
Yeah,
think about Amazon. Amazon is not a one company.
yeah,
They have been having product after product after product. Same thing with Elon. I mean, Elon has company after company after company.
yeah,
These guys are like just even Jensen Wing, right? They are not
yeah,
GPU to AI to now Gen AI. Like
yeah,
he is reinventing, and obviously that's why they are all of them are close to $1 trillion company, right?
yeah.
So there is a reason for that.
I agree. I mean, it is just very hard to be certain humans in our lifetimes, I feel.
That's right.
Right. So, so this is more like whatever comes to your mind first, you can answer. So, best decision you ever made.
Several, I think several decisions, but maybe even a macro level, I would say one thing is that like I have a kind of broader understanding that whatever decision you make, you think
Yeah.
is such important, usually in the longer run doesn't really matter much. Kind of,
Yeah.
if you have that kind of mentality, you don't get too much of, too much of craziness around decision. But
Yeah.
multiple decision, right? Coming to US is one big one. Having kids was a big one. So there is a
Yeah.
multiple things. Starting the company was a big one. So there are multiple of decision that
Yeah.
is, obviously big moment.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the same thing. Like moving to this country for me at a very young age was a big decision. It was just like unthought of. Nobody had done it in my family, and I was like, why am I doing this kind of a thing?
Okay.
So I totally hear you when you say that. So one thing you cannot live without, obviously, your kids and your family, but something else that you cannot live without.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I don't know what. I think probably. I mean, I read a lot of books. I think a lot. So I would say that kind of thing, right? Reading books and thinking through things. I think that's something I enjoy. Just obviously beside kids and family and all the thing. So I
Yeah,
think that probably I would say I do it actively even when I'm busy.
yeah.
So it's not the best answer as a fun answer, but that's probably I
No,
can think of.
yeah, I'm not so much of a book reader. I read a lot of business journals and things like that. I cannot live without reading business journals. So I totally relate to you. But so other than books, is there anything that you do, and what kind of books do you generally read?
Yeah, and I read all kinds of book. I've been reading like I probably finished the Nietzsche and Freud by the time I was in high school.
Oh.
So I read everything, right? It has to be just high quality I will read. But I think beside book reading, I play a lot also. I used to play a lot, like all kinds of things. You can think about coming from India,
Yeah,
all the typical sports we play,
you
cricket,
finish all
badminton,
cricket.
all of them I play. But I continuously, that's one of the thing I do, kind of outside the regular book and the work point of view.
Yeah, all right. So biggest life changer, like what was your biggest life changer?
I probably I mean, if I have to think back, coming to US was what definitely fundamentally changed who I am.
Yeah,
Having kids, I have two kids. I think we are kind of quickly discussing. I have a 7-year-old daughter, 4-year-old son.
uh-huh.
It just absolutely changes your life. And
Yeah.
also starting Safe AI. I think that is, I learned a lot. I'm continuing learning. So all three, I would say, pretty big change in my life.
Yeah, yeah, I totally hear you. And these are generally the common things that I hear from founders and entrepreneurs. The proudest moment, like what is your like a proudest moment? Obviously, probably getting a PhD, I would say, or uh,
Getting a PhD was like, I still think about like, why did I do it? Not so much, right? But if somebody would have told me that you're in engineering, you don't need even if you don't need a master's, I would have been happy with that. But no, I
uh,
think obviously having kids is one of the proudest moment. I think that I would kind of say, I think being able to, even at this safe AI, being able to bring the company into a position that you can actually deliver something to the society, I think that's
yeah.
I take that as a proud moment. So I think those two will be more. And PhD, just I didn't know what I was doing.
I used to feel that a lot about my education as well, and then now I feel like okay, it all connects somehow.
That's right. That's right.
So I hear you, but yes, delivering to society is something that I think is these are hard problems to solve, and we all figure out how to do it. And I would definitely say this is definitely solving a problem which a lot of entrepreneurs are not thinking about solving. So, any advice to budding entrepreneurs?
Yeah, and I said the same thing other day. Like, this is my first rodeo, and
Yeah,
it's like I'm getting lucky here, unlucky there. So, my advice doesn't mean a much. So that's why I just taking it out.
yeah,
Broadly, I would say, because the amount of things about to come, the technology is so much opportunity. It's
yeah,
just mind blowing opportunity ahead of us.
yeah.
So one thing also, just do it. Like it's not like all the thing is done. I mean, there is just definitely, I mean, in Silicon Valley,
Yeah,
amount of stuff is coming. So
yeah.
whatever you do, if you put it there, the opportunity is massive. Just don't be ready for it, just do it. Because if you try to be ready for it, things will go by and new thing will come.
Yeah, I think so. they say, right, when you basically, as you said, you have to be ready for it. You basically pick up your shovel and you start digging. Otherwise, opportunities will just go away,
Very
and
true.
you just go with the flow, I would say, definitely. But like, would you say that would you expect more entrepreneurs to be in like deep technology? We don't see a lot of them coming unless they are deeply fascinated by technology. But would you like something like that, or would you want to see, as you yourself pointed out, it's so difficult to find resources who know all three of them? So you had any thoughts on that?
I mean, I am extremely biased because I've
Yeah,
been doing technology for all my life, right? But I
yeah,
would say next era is technology era,
yeah,
right? The world will be motivated and guided and, to a sense, controlled by technology,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So you wanna be in technology at this time, and the way I say it, that there was a era, the religion was guiding the world.
yeah,
Then there is a era when the industrialization and all that guided the world.
yeah,
Today it is technology.
yeah,
Today is literally the technology. So you, if you want to do something, you will not get away from it, so you might as well jump into it, you
yeah.
know fully into the technology.
Yeah, Dr. Halder, you have read the economic curve very well, I would say. Anyways, all
Exactly.
right. It was great talking to you. I really enjoyed, and I am glad to bring this story because not a lot of people would understand what Safe AI is, and this was really fun. And I hope you had a fun time as well.
No, thank you very much, and thanks for having this topic. This is not the most fun topic, and I think your audience. One thing also, there's a lot of fun thing happening. Then this is really a moving industry. So
Yeah,
anybody who is interested to kind of see where is going, where they want to take the industry, will welcome everybody to kind of take a look at it. There's a
yeah,
lot of exciting changes and work
yeah.
happening in heavy industry.
And I'm glad to bring your story because so that more people are motivated to not work on the other side of the industry, but on this side of the industry.
As well, absolutely. Thank you.